Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are doing well. So listen, first of all, let me just apologise to you all for it taking so long for me to do another one of these videos. My original plan was to do one of these like once a month or whatever, whenever I could fit them in, as a way to give back to all of you for supporting me basically. However, it kind of got a little bit overwhelming in my inbox. Yeah, I kind of couldn't handle it alongside working, but now YouTube is my main job. I hope to be doing it a lot more. Just before we get into it, I just want to be very clear about how to contact me in this way for makeup questions. Please, 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 please only use the email address here, robertmakeuphelp@gmail.com. None of my contact me buttons, so here on YouTube, my email on Instagram, anything like that, none of those are this email address. They don't go, that goes to my management, so please don't send your questions there because I won't see it and I won't be able to reply. So only send them to this email address. When you do send them to this email address, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to answer it. So please don't then message me again saying I emailed this, at this time, mainly because I've already answered it in a video or because it's something very specific. So I want to take questions that are going to help everyone and are quite useful for everyone. So asking me to match you to a shade of foundation isn't really beneficial for everyone. So please bear in mind when you ask me questions, if you think it's going to help everyone else out, and do check the other videos just before this because they tend to be quite generic. They tend to be about like face shape, contouring, things like that, which I have covered quite a lot throughout my videos. So yes, and if I get time to, I will point you in the right direction, but please only contact this email here, and there is no other way to get this email other than you having to type it into your email yourself, because no link, no click is this email. Does that make sense? So like I said, I am doing a helping my subscribers video today, so let's get into it. So I have quite a few I'm going to cover. So this is, hi Robert. First, just wanted to say, love your makeup channel. I appreciate that you teach for real life makeup application versus Instagram makeup. Thank you so much. I bought into the hype of a P. Louise base, and for the most part I like it, but whenever I try to do a cut crease, the outside corners does this patchy thing. Not sure why or really how to fix it. Not sure if it's my makeup skills or the base itself. Would love it if you could help, please. Attached on my recent eye looks, I tried to put more eyeshadow, but when I tried to blend it went back to this. Please excuse my makeup. Still learning. Okay, let's take a look at the picture here. I see exactly where you mean. Here's the thing with the P. Louise base and concealers as bases. And this is why I'm not a fan of a P. Louise base and bases that kind of mimic a concealer texture. There's a kind of moisture to those eye bases, and skin absorbs moisture differently in different areas of the skin. Even on the eyelid as well, that's still going to happen. The thing with P. Louise bases, concealers as bases, and other things that are like a fluid base as an eye base, and this isn't for everyone, everyone's skin is different. Your skin is going to absorb it in certain ways. So almost, you see where that patchiness here is, that's because that powder is mixing with the base. It's, like when you get a powder wet, it darkens. That patch there is where the base is just sitting on your lid. And it's quite a fluid, and I'm not a fan of this base because I find it quite wet. And everyone's like, but you have to pat it dry. It's like, okay, but do you really have to do that when you can buy a product that just does it straight away? So what I would recommend is a different base, or using, I'm not sure how much you're using. I know when P. Louise market their base, they use way too much and do this like mask effect. Use a tiny amount. Are you using an eye cream before? Eye creams aren't necessary for skincare, but I feel like they are for makeup because you want a smooth texture around the eyes. Here's some things to try. Use an eye cream or use some kind of hydration around the eye. Give it a few minutes and then take like a tissue and just tap away any excess moisture, because that's what your skin is rejecting. Then you can go on top of your eye base. If you're doing your eye base first and then cut creasing with the eye base, I wouldn't recommend using that eye base to cut crease. I know they do online, all that kind of stuff, but you can see as well, even when they do it in the pictures, the eyeshadows get this really strange like darkness with like a light halo because it's getting wet, the powder's getting wet. It's really difficult to describe. I would use something like Makeup Revolution, for example, a really affordable brand, do this amazing product called Cut Crease Canvas, which I wouldn't recommend it as an eyeshadow base, but as a for cutting a crease, it's great because it goes on liquid and dries so dry. So it's not going to interfere with your makeup underneath, and that can be your base for your cut crease. But that patch, this patch of darkness is moisture. It's moisture getting into the eyeshadow. So that could even be on your brush. That's another thing as well. You use, I don't know how many brushes you have. I know we can't have too many brushes, but maybe your brush might have some kind of moisture on it left from the base or from your eyelid. Okay, so this one is a video.
Hi Robert, I was wondering how I should contour and blush for my face shape. I think my face is a combination of round and square, square being my jaw, as you can tell. And also my nose. I have more of a button nose, so I don't know if I need a lot, but it looks kind of odd if I don't put product there and I try to contour my cheeks or have blush on my cheeks. So here's my side profile. And it's also kind of short in my opinion, so if you have any tips, tricks, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, you have the cutest face. You have a really nice face. I love your eyebrow shape. I would love to do makeup on that area because there's so much room there. So when it comes to contouring your face, and I've chosen this video as well because so many people had the same question and a very similar face shape. Let's start with, we'll go to the nose in a minute. Let's start with the actual face area, the cheek area. So you have quite a prominent cheekbone like dip here, and then your cheeks are nice and plump up here, but then you do have that square jawline. So you're right, you have a square kind of rounded face. What I would recommend is thinking about how you're sculpting and defining the face. So I saw something on Twitter recently which really made sense, and I kind of want to bring it up in this video. You can sculpt the face with a blusher just as much as you can with contour sometimes. So on you, what will be really great is not to contour so much here. So I would place a blush on you, like a deep peachy blush would be really nice to use. Just take your blush on the cheekbone here, but stop where your cheeks are a little bit fuller, because that way you're sculpting but you're not deepening too much. If you were to contour right here, you're going to push that further in, accentuate this a little bit more. So ideally what we want to do is even out the sculpted area, if that makes sense. So I would, if anything, where's so on me, for example, because my face is really long, I contour here. So I take that and I just go there and I tuck it under like this, and then I would run it into a blush here. So on you, because you have that fuller cheek, you could just go underneath that cheek here, making that kind of sculpted shape here, and then fade that into some blush. And then you could even bring the blush just underneath that sculpt if you want to, but that might be a little bit too much. In terms of a nose, I know what you mean by saying that it looks weird if you don't put anything there. However, you have quite a defined bridge of the nose. Looking at your nose, it's already kind of self-contoured, if that makes sense. So what I would do is just take a tiny bit of contour or even bronzer, because we don't really need to contour your nose, we just want to sculpt it slightly. So a tiny bit of bronzer just in that kind of basic U shape just here. Don't do here because you're pushing your nose inwards then that way. But what we want to do is keep that nose nice and even like you have now, just by deepening this area here. People with button noses, right? I love them. I think they're the cutest thing, but maybe because I have quite a long nose, I've always wanted like a little like button nose. If you feel your nose is quite short, there are a few things you can do. You can wrap a lighter highlight right down here, and I mean wrap it right down and tuck it up in there and then blend it in. Or you can overdraw your top lip, which kind of eliminates the distance from your nose to here. Not so much like your top lip is touching your nose, but that kind of closes that gap a little bit more. Let me just say, first of all, for you and for everyone, I think we look at our faces so much and we analyze them in such detail, and we're constantly thinking, how can I improve this? How can I improve this? Your features on your face are incredible. You have these amazing brows that go really high up. You can do some amazing eye makeup. So when you have that kind of like eye makeup going on and maybe like a nice lip, you don't have to worry so much about the other features, but I know we all kind of want to perfect everything. I hope that helps. I hope that made sense. I kind of just talk and hope it makes sense. Hi Robert, really love your personality and calm demeanour while you speak in your videos. Thank you. I have a long face, same, but also my face is broad too. How do I balance that? I don't use foundation. I have used only concealer and a bit of blush in my picture below, or layer products as I have textured acne prone skin. And And do I need to change the shape of my eyebrows? Thanks and lots of love from India. Thank you. Okay, well first of all, you have incredible skin. Absolutely incredible. So I can actually see on you where it's so much easier to sculpt. You have a really, really, this is going to sound really strange, nice shaped head. And you have these amazing cheekbones. You have this really nice, your face is just generally really great. What I would do, and I do this on me because I do have a longer face shape as well, on your forehead where you're naturally kind of a little bit more tanned on there, sculpt that a little bit more contour just in this area here. Don't go too far down the sides of the forehead like this, because then you're narrowing that even more. And with a long face shape, you can kind of see in this picture that naturally light highlights this middle bit of the face, making it look longer. So I would take a little bit of highlight, whether that be a cream, whether it be a powder, just place it on the top of your cheekbones here. You have naturally quite big cheekbones, really, really nice sculpted cheekbones. So that will lift that up. So there's light bouncing off here and there's light bouncing off here, giving us more of this dimension. Sculpt the chin, just this area here. So we're blocking off here, and then really sculpt you have an incredible cheekbone. So I would definitely sculpt those cheekbones. One, because it will help that kind of longer face shape, but two, because you have amazing cheekbones, and why not, you know? I don't think you need to worry about the shape of your brows at all. I think they're a really nice shape. Whatever you're doing with your skin looks incredible, so keep doing that. But yeah, think about, for long face shapes, think about how you can add to this light that bounces off the middle of the face. Add here, make it more diamond. Beautiful skin, amazing skin. Let's have a little look. We have a video from Deborah. Hey Deborah.
Robert, I really enjoyed your YouTube videos. I just recently started watching YouTube videos on makeup. I'm 51. I worked in corrections for 25 years, and so I never really had to do makeup. And now I'm trying to learn. My problem is my eyes are so hooded that my hood actually rests where my eyeliner goes, and then throughout the day it kind of melts, and then I get this big, I don't know if you can see it, this big black line where my eyeliner is, and I'm wondering if I need to do something else. Really appreciate your videos. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so hooded eyes is a really specific, there's so many different things. I feel like with hooded eyes there's not one rule, because loads of different things works for different people. And by the way everyone, I will do a video for hooded eyes. I don't feel like I have truly hooded eyes. I think like a little bit, but I did have somebody, a friend, who was gonna be in my video, and I was going to do her makeup because she has hooded eyes, but you know, lockdown. So first of all, let's talk about, are you using an eyeshadow base, which I'm guessing you are. But it's also difficult with hooded eyes because even with an eyeshadow base, sometimes the product can melt on a hooded eye. Here's my suggestion, because eyeliner, mascara, everything like that, you should still wear some kind of eyeshadow base with, because your oil will then melt down the product, which we can see in your video here. So here's what I would recommend to do. Find something, as horrible as it sounds, and maybe this isn't something for every day, maybe just a special occasion or when you want to wear those darker kind of eyes, find something that's going to act as an eyeshadow base that is extremely dry. So not just normal eyeshadow base dry, but I mean like dry. So you can buy flesh color eye pencils, like not the wind up ones, they're too creamy. Find a flesh color eye pencil that is a classic sharpened pencil, because they are so dry and they really grip to the eye and stick. Well, let me show you this actually as well. Sigma do these eyeshadow base primers, which are really good. This is the shade Ignite, which I think will be great for you. I've been using that recently and I found it really sticky, so that might be of help. But a flesh color eye pencil is great. You know what was really great, what I feel like we've all forgotten about? That white pencil from NYX. What was that called? That was so dry, so dry. So you use that. And yes, it's probably not the best thing to use consistently, because we still have to remember the skin around the eyes is very sensitive and very thin, but it's going to help your makeup last a long time. Yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah, do let me know. It'll be nice to kind of keep up and see what products you're using there. So let's take a look at this one. Hi Robert, first of all I'd like to say I enjoy your videos very much and they've been really informative, so thank you for watching. I've got a couple of questions for you. Number one, would eye primer help creasing in the smile lines? I once watched an old video of Nika Joy, She's a YouTuber who used to do freelance. And she said applying eye primer to smile lines and then using a fluffy eyeshadow brush with a tiny bit of setting powder would help creasing. Mind you, all this she did before foundation. I suggest watching her video because she explains, yeah, I think I know what you mean. Right now, I just try to avoid applying too much foundation to smile lines and really pat it in with my sponge or finger before setting. I have oily skin and the creasing is much worse in the summer when my skin is oilier and sweatier. I study in the UK, but I'm from Cyprus, so I spend the summer months there where the weather is super hot. Another question, would more powder help for creasing? I don't really have a problem with the smile lines looking cakey unless they crease, so I thought that might work. I'm just looking for a better solution. Thanks for reading the story of my life, and again, thanks for educating us on makeup. So here's the thing with smile lines. I'm gonna be really real with you guys, and I know some of you aren't gonna like it, and you can be like, but this person says this, but this person says this. Smile lines is more than a skin texture. It's a what's the word? It's like the makeup off your face. Trying to smooth out something that is constantly moving is very difficult. Very, very difficult. And a lot of people say, you know, put on this product, put on more product, more product, more product. Especially if you have oilier skin in this situation and in areas where product breaks down, the more product you put on, the more product there is to break down and look cakey. So let's just talk about prepping the skin and things like powders and setting sprays and all this kind of stuff. For the majority of people, unless you're very lucky and have really great skin, let's say this green is foundation. This palette here is setting spray or powder. And then let's say that this is your skin. So what actually breaks down our foundation when it gets patchy and cakey is oil from our skin, natural oils from our skin. So that comes from this way. So it's directly going to affect your, oh, I'm covering my mouth. So it's directly going to affect your skin. So by putting something here, all we're doing is adding to that product here that's going to be broken down through this way. What we really want to do is put this product here. So we're blocking our foundation from our oil with this product. So setting sprays and mists and things like that are fine if you have non-problematic skin, you know, or just to give it an effect. I love to use setting sprays as a after finish, just to feel like everything's finished up. Maybe I've used some powder but it doesn't look quite natural, then I'll use that. However, in situations where we get the creasing, we really do need to block off what comes through underneath. So what we can do is use a setting spray just before, or a primer just before. However, when it comes to powders and things like that, I like to think that less is so much more when it comes to textured areas. So creasing there is inevitable. There's no way at all you're going to stop it completely. There's going to be a little crease, there's going to be a little, even if it's the tiniest little crease. So here's what I think you should do. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. You use whatever product you're using, foundation, whatever, but let's think about how we can touch that up in a way that is beneficial to you. If you put too much product here, it's going to be even more difficult to touch up. If you put too much powder there, you then can't touch it up without the powder making this like texture, so then it looks even more cakey and crepey and dry. I would just use foundation. So use maybe a bit of eye primer, a really dry eye primer on here. Smallest amount, less is more. And then your foundation, that's it. Don't powder it, because you can easily touch it up, keep whatever, a little sponge, like this one, or one of those little cheap round ones, and you can literally just touch up that area and renew that area with a sponge. Even spritz it with like a hydrating spray, because then all you're doing is renewing just that foundation texture. Whereas if we try to do this, if we had foundation and powder, then you're adding like more moisture to powder. Does that make sense? So you're getting like this weird clayey kind of texture and it makes it really difficult to touch up. If we can't stop it, let's make it easier to fix. Just tap that area and it will renew itself. That's all we want to do, is renew that foundation if you have time to touch up. I hope that helped. It's kind of a bit of a, what's the word? I don't think there is a solution for that yet, to be honest with you. People can do it and it may work for people, but everyone's skin is different, and if you've tried that method before and it's still not working for you, then don't think about how you can prevent it, think about how you can quickly fix it when it happens. So our next one. Hello Robert, my name is Leah, I'm 37 years old and I'm from Greece. Nice. I feel I have a long face and I'm not sure where to contour. I don't know if a pic is clear, even though I don't see a long face in person, I see it in the pics. And second, I cannot understand my eye shape. I don't know if I am blind, but I cannot figure it out. Are they almond? Are they hooded? Etc. I have seen so many pictures and videos of eye shapes and have become very confused, yes. So I'm going to start off my reply by saying, when it comes to face shape and eye shape, don't worry too much about trying to fit into the preset eye shapes, because more than likely you can be a mix of two. And also when it comes to eye shape, you need to kind of consider as well everything else. How much room do you have between your eye and your brow? How long are they? How much space do you have here and here? So let's look at your eye shape first of all. Again, you have this incredible room between your eye and your brow. I wouldn't say they were hooded because I can still see your lid with your eyes open. But here's what I would do. I've noticed in your pictures, the eyeshadow that you do, you kind of round it off the same height around the whole shape of the eye. You have, like I said, this incredible shape, and if you look at the inside of your eye here, you have this really nice point. It goes into this really sharp point. I would carry on that shape up the eye. So instead of rounding off all your eyeshadow, I would start off right in the crease here and then stop about here. So you're taking yours up here at the moment, like this shape. We want this shape on you, like not all the way up here, but more of this like triangular shape. Because I wouldn't say that your face shape is extremely long. If anything, it's rounder. But what would be really, really nice if you could still sculpt your cheeks how you're doing now, which I think you're doing perfectly. Bring that blush up a little bit more. Because you already have quite nicely defined apples of the cheek, so we don't need to put too much here. Just bring it back and up a little bit more. But on your eye shape, you would look incredible with that pulled out shape, because you do have kind of an almond eye shape, but you have this really nice, uniquely shaped eye that kind of goes into this really nice point. So really bring that out. We want cat eyes on you, because also what you're doing with that eye shape there is you're actually elongating the face by... It's like your eye makeup is connected into your nose and then down, which is a really nice shape to contour. But when you contour that face, you're elongating that whole area. So let's cut it off. Let's just go this way in. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, beautiful. I love that lip colour. So our next one, hey, I have extremely fine lines underneath my eye, which results in my under eye makeup always creasing, even after setting the area with powder and setting spray. I also don't like the dry and cakey appearance the powder gives, even if I'm not using a lot. Yeah, I still use it in hopes that it will prevent creasing, but it doesn't. Maybe the particular powder I'm using, which is a Laura Mercier translucent powder, which I personally don't really like. I was wondering if you can help me with this issue of reducing the appearance of under eye wrinkles, as well as preventing the makeup from creasing, looking cakey. If you also have any product recommendations, that would be extremely appreciated. Okay, perfect. So first of all, check out my concealer method. I think that would be a really great one to use for you if you're finding it's creasing too much, because then we're just concealing the certain areas. There's a whole video, I will link it below, I'll add a card in here. Powder under the eyes. I know it works for some people, and clearly it doesn't work for everyone, and actually it doesn't work for the majority of people, according to my emails. So here's what I like to remember about the skin under the eyes versus the rest of the face. The skin under the eyes is extremely, not dry, but it doesn't produce as much oil as the rest of our face. So by packing on powder and like a heavy product, you're asking for more texture, and it's extremely thin. Things can drag down the texture of the skin under the eyes. So I would use the smallest amount of concealer. Also, what concealer are you using? I would love to know. You can get some really fluid based concealers where they're not heavy, they're not thick, they're not too overly creamy. The creamier products cause creasing more, and powder does cause creasing. I know people are like, oh, but it sets it. Again, works for some people, it doesn't work for most people. Don't use setting spray under the eye as well. Not because, I mean, you probably can, but again, you're changing the texture of the product. So if you're doing concealer, powder, and then setting spray something wet, you're wetting that texture off the powder. Wet powder turns like clay. It turns into this really strange texture. So don't use too much at all. Try applying your concealer with fingers and really pushing that into these areas to warm it up. And then kind of take my advice from what I was saying about the creases here. Just don't use too much product, and then it makes it so much easier to tap and fix throughout the day. Try not to use powder under the eyes. That would be my advice, and yeah, find a concealer that's more liquid in texture. You can get concealers that aren't as full coverage as your average concealer. I hope that makes sense. Alright guys, so that was it for today. My back hurts for some reason, because I'm old. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to get through even more of his emails. I promise you I will get you one once a month from now on. But yes, like I said, you can only send these questions to this email here, nowhere else, and you have to physically type it in. None of my contact me buttons are this email address, so please don't send them here because they won't be answered, and I want to answer them for you. Do check out my other videos just before you send me that email, just to make sure I haven't answered it already. But like I said, if I have answered it already, I will just send you the link to the video and you know, timestamp, whatever. Guys, thank you so much, and I just want to say thank you all as well for just being amazing subscribers. It can be a little bit difficult sometimes having a lot of people see your videos and having opinions and things like that, which everyone is entitled to, but you guys are always so positive, and you get me. we understand each other, and as much as I think people who don't watch my videos are outsiders seem to see me in a certain light, you guys see me for the person I am, and thank you so much for that. And if I could give back to you guys even more, then I could, but I can't think how. Maybe you can let me know. Anyway guys, thank you so much for sticking around and being with me and subscribing. I will see you on Sunday. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you very soon. Bye.